Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys obviously about how to resolve arguments. You might have watched part 1 where we discussed why do you argue in relationships. Well, today we're going to talk to you guys about how to resolve those particular arguments and how to get around that. Alright guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for a notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, we appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded. You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Alright, cool. So, we spoke obviously in the last video talking about why arguments happen. They happen because people have implied and interpreted meaning to certain behaviors that people do. And in this particular episode, we're talking about how to resolve those arguments when there are implied meanings to certain behaviors. So, the first thing you want to do in resolving these actions is to understand, okay, what you've implied to a certain behavior. Let's say you're the offended party, and I think the example we used last time round was around obviously socks being left on the floor. And we said that obviously for the woman I'm with, when I leave my socks on the floor, it's the 5th, the 6th time she's told me. She feels I'm now doing it on purpose. I'm now disrespecting her. I don't care about her. I don't want her. I don't want her to relax. I want to stress her. That's where the implied meaning is coming from. That's what she's imparting as a meaning to my behavior. And so in this argument, what's happening is that I'm defending myself because I feel like I'm being attacked by you, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I just left my socks there because I was tired. But for you, you've got an implied meaning. So we must come to a place where we both understand what we meant by our behavior. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult for the person who is the offender, because he or she has to understand what they meant to do when they left their socks there and communicate it oh so clearly, okay? Because once you're able to articulate that, then the person who's also an offendee, who's been offended, can then also state what their feelings were in terms of how they felt. You made me feel like this when you did this action. And so now both parties can come to a place and go, okay, I know you weren't trying to do it on purpose. Because majority of these arguments that are happening between two sets of parties are happening because we may feel that the person is intentionally trying to do something. Even though we know they're not trying to do it intentionally, we feel like they're doing it intentionally to hurt us. And therefore, the mind, okay, goes into protective mode and finds ways to defend one's self, okay? So, point number 1, understanding each individual's implied meaning to said behavior is how one way you're going to resolve this argument. Please articulate that to one another. And the second point is also as well to use I feel like, or this behavior to me. When you did this, I felt like. You must go into the mode of feelings and you must go into the mode of you. You cannot go into the mode of you did this and this is what it. No, because that's accusory. Oh, that you are accusing the individual rather than stating how it made you feel. Now, the person didn't cheat on you, okay? The person has left their socks on the floor, okay? And these are some of the little arguments that can happen in relationships, or they left the dishes overnight. And what you're saying to them is, this is how you made me feel, okay, when you did this. When you do this, I feel like. You see, when you say I, it brings it back to you. It is your feeling. It's not a universal feeling. It is your feeling. Even if the whole world agrees, it's still your feeling. When you say it's your feeling, what you do is you step away from accusing and you start to say, this is how you made me feel when you did that. Then the person can say, okay, I understand. You're saying that when I do this, it causes this reaction. Everybody pretty much understands cause and effect. But when you say, obviously, you left the socks on the floor on purpose, and you don't even care about me. You don't care about this room. Look how untidy it is. You never help me. Da da da. You've gone into I can't say that word. You've gone into accusing rather than actually saying, this is how I feel about what you're doing. Remember, you're trying to communicate what the implied feeling or the implied meaning of a behavior to you is. Understand that? Very, very clear. All right. Point number three and probably this should even come at the beginning, is that you should know that this person isn't trying to kill you. When it's these little arguments that happen, which can turn into full-blown big-ass arguments, leaving dishes in the sink, not being helped around the house, and things like that, things that are small but can turn to really big, massive arguments, you must come to a place and understand that the person isn't trying to kill you. They just don't understand that their behavior at the moment communicates a certain language or message to them. Okay? This is very quintessential. Once you have this mindset, it's not up. And you see, there's a theory. I think it's golden. What's it, golden game theory or whatever? Something game theory. Sorry, game theory. And it talks about how people often go into black and white mode, where it's like the game says that you can earn this amount. Let's say 500 if you take a win, and the other team will take 0, or you can take 250 each or whatever. Or the alternative is they get 500, you get 0, right? And most people go into the two brackets at the top and the bottom. Why? Because all they can see is win and loss. They can't see how we collaborate to both win. And let me tell you something about relationships. It's like game theory. If you think it's about win and loss, you will lose. Okay? The win and the loss will cause you to lose. Alright? Why? Because the relationship is not about winning and losses. The relationship is about a partnership that you two have, that you're trying to be able to get to a certain destination. Alright? If you're in a car and you want to get it from A to B, it's not about taking over the steering wheel to guide it. It's about being able to work together to get you from A to B. If you grab the steering wheel whilst we're in transition mode, what will happen? The car could potentially crash. It's not about winning and losing. It's about being able to communicate how you felt and be able to be vulnerable in that instance to be able to get us to the destination of where we are working together as a collaborative effort, force, team. Okay, so get that out of your mindset. It's not about winning and losing, okay? It's not about winning and losing. And you see, winning and losing causes pride. When you feel like you're losing, and that's where these arguments often come from, you go into pride mode. And in pride mode, anybody can get it, you know what I mean? And you stop listening because your pride, your ego is now talking, rather than you saying, okay, I'm going to listen to what you're saying, and I'm going to try to fathom and actually try to understand and deep what you're saying to me. But when you're in winning and losing mode, you don't do that. Point number 4. I always say as well, lace anything you say with sugar. And I say this because there's an art to say something. I always say that shut up isn't be quiet. You know what I mean? Like, they're two different conversations at that point. Yeah, and it can bring about two different responses. Just by the way that you coin and construct what you're about to say. And so the term lace it with sugar that we've come up with is, when you're talking, say, listen, look, do you know what, I really do appreciate you, you do help me around the house, or, you do, like, for instance, let's talk about the sock example. Babe, look, I know you work hard, and you work hard to provide for the family, and and I know you've had a hard day's work. It would really help me, and I would really appreciate it if you would then pick up your socks rather than leaving it on the floor. Because when you do that, how it feels to me. Do you see? I've laced it with sugar first. In fact, in business, we have a term which is like EBI, which means even better if. So it's like you give negative, but it's like it'd be even better if you did. So even better if it would be like, okay, great, I know, baby, like I just said, you help around it. I know you work hard and everything like that. It would be even better if, as you're working hard, if you come home and you just put your socks in the basket for me, and then I can sort it out, right? Even better if. You know what I mean? So these conversations are not win and loss. The conversations are, how do we resolve the issue and bring about a solution that hopefully both of us can feel satisfied by. All right. Point number 5 is is to potentially, you should. Okay. Arguments often happen when we are whoa. Arguments usually happen when we are at our most emotive, when we're feeling our most surge and flow of emotions going at that time. Then arguments often ensue because we're reacting rather than taking time to really sit through the information being given to us and then taking a measured response. When you're in your emotions, when you live in your emotions rather than you explore your emotions, then what can happen is that you actually begin to react, I would say, in a violent manner, and not necessarily physically but emotionally. And the reason why you do that is because there's a lot of energy at the moment going around. Let's say you are frustrated. It's the 5th or 6th time you told Kojo to pick up his socks from the floor. Now you're in a frenzy, you're angry, you're stressed, and it's not just me. You're stressed from work, you're stressed from maybe the relationship, you're stressed from the kids, you're stressed from something else, etc, etc, etc. There's so many different stresses that then come into that one situation, and oftentimes we can't differentiate our different stresses. We just pile on, and so we bring it all into one place, channel it, funnel it, and then boom. Okay, yes, you are angry about the socks, but everything else is fed into that. When you're at your highly emotive self, when you are feeling your most emotive, at that point, it may be difficult to be able to have a real deep conversation where you're not acting in your emotions. And when I say acting in, I'm talking about living in your emotions. When you give yourself some time and a bit of a breather, you go away, maybe you have to have a little time to think. I love what me and my missus will do, especially her, when she feels like she's not getting what I'm saying, she goes, okay, look, do you know what, give me some time. I'm going to go away, I'm going to just pray about it or whatever, and then I'm going to come back, right? So we may have disagreed, but now we've gone away and come back. Person's got a different perspective. Doesn't mean they're going to agree with me. It means that they're going to come with a different perspective, and the way they approach also now makes it more of a conversation rather than an annihilation. Okay, so those 5 points are very, very important. It's important to make sure you understand that your relationship is not a win and loss. Understand that your partner, you and your partner attach a meaning to certain behaviors. Understand to use the words I feel, this is how it makes me feel, how it appears to me, how I perceive the actions, all those, bringing it back to self, very, very important, okay, not to accuse, and to know that the person isn't trying to kill you, okay? So I would say that, explain how you feel, deal with that. Explore that emotion. Don't live in it. Explore that emotion. Okay, I'm feeling angry. Why am I feeling angry? You see, exploring says why. People go to explore things because they want to find out why is the way the world is. What is out there? What is out there? You know what I mean? Where? How? When? Those words come into play because you're exploring. When you live in your emotions, you can only deal with the fact that this is how I feel, and that's it. I'm closed book. When you got almost into a snow globe effect where it's only your world that exists. Unfortunately, that's not how relationships work. So, guys, that is a part 2 of our video where we talk about dealing with arguments. What we are going to deal about is part 3. We're going to talk about why arguments actually happen, and then we're going to deal with non-listening skills, or not listening to your partner. Guys, if you've liked what we did, please like, comment, share down below, and comment as well. What's your thoughts around this subject? Maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. Let us know, and we appreciate you. Little Black Book, you got the minerals. You got the minerals, you got the minerals.
Well, the conversations need to happen. Like, you have to tell your wife or your husband what it is you like. Alright, let's say you're virgin, you might not know what you like, but from the beginning you start, once you're involved in contest, you should have an idea, do you know what I mean, of what you like, and you have to communicate that to your husband, to your wife, try new things, experiment, all that sort of stuff.
You know what I've even found though, yeah? Or I've heard, yeah? Like,
he's experienced.
No, it's not experience. This is, because what
trust me, these times.
You know what I heard? No. This is real life stories.